In the secret place, in the heart of prayer, there is always light shining everywhere. You will learn to love with a gentle grace when you talk with God in the secret place. God is calling you to this world of light, like a mother's voice calling in the night. Leave your broken dreams, drop your load of care at the door of truth, at the gate of prayer. In the secret place, in the heart of prayer, there is always light shining everywhere. You will learn to love with a gentle grace when you talk with God in the secret place. Bring your childlike faith to his open arms. In that secret place, nothing hurt or harms. He will be at peace, you will know his face, you will find your home in the secret place. God is calling you to this world of light, like a mother's voice calling in the night. Leave your broken dreams, drop your load of care at the door of truth, at the gate of prayer. In the secret place, in the heart of prayer, there is always light shining everywhere. You will learn to love with a gentle grace when you talk with God in the secret place. When you talk with God in the secret place. When you talk with God in the secret place. Hi, good to be here again. Amazing how quickly a week goes by. Okay, this evening's theme is government and leaning on the sustaining infinite. And to share her thoughts on that and to give us some inspired readings is a very good friend of mine, Tricia Cullimore. But before I hand over to her, I'm going to play the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Our Father, which art in heaven, Hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. The power and the glory forever and ever. Thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory. The power and the glory forever and ever, forever and ever. Amen.
Hello. This evening I shall be reading from Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures by Mary Baker Eddy, and from some of her other writings. In divine science, God is recognized as the only power, presence, and glory. The consciousness of light is like the eternal law of God, revealing Him and nothing else. God creates and governs the universe, including man. The universe is filled with spiritual ideas, which He evolves, and they are obedient to the mind that makes them. Man is the idea of spirit. He reflects the beatific presence, illumining the universe with light. Spiritual perception brings out the possibilities of being, destroys reliance on aught but God, and so makes man the image of his Maker, in deed and in truth. To grasp the reality and order of being in its science, you must begin by reckoning God as the divine principle of all that really is. Spirit, life, truth, love combine as one and are the scriptural names for God. All substance, intelligence, wisdom, being, immortality, cause and effect belong to God. These are His attributes, the eternal manifestations of the infinite divine principle, love. No wisdom is wise but His wisdom. No truth is true. No love is lovely. No life is but the divine. No good is but the good God bestows. The government of divine love derives its omnipotence from the love it creates in the heart of man. For the love is allegiant, and there is no loyalty apart from love. The government of divine love is supreme. Love rules the universe, and its edict hath gone forth. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, and love thy neighbour as thyself. Let us have the molecule of faith that removes mountains, faith armed with the understanding of love, as in divine science where right reigneth. Jesus aided in reconciling man to God by giving man a truer sense of love, the divine principle of Jesus' teachings. And this truer sense of love redeems man from the law of matter, sin and death by the law of spirit, the law of divine love. Let us reassure ourselves with the law of love.
Lo, he sent his word and healed them. Still that word of God is here. Still its tender healing message speaks to every listening ear. Speaks to every listening ear. Truth divine that overcometh all the ills that seem to be in our hearts, thy word abiding, we may know thee and be free. We may know thee and be free. Love divine that faileth never, still thy presence and thy power. Mighty art to save and heal us, guard and guide us every hour. Life divine, thy word proclaimeth all true being, one with thee. Sinless, fearless, whole rejoicing, now and through eternity. Now and through eternity. In our hearts thy word abiding, we may know thee and be free. In our hearts thy word abiding, we may know thee and be free. We may know thee and be free. Eternal mind the potter is, and thought the eternal clay. The hand that fashions is divine, his works pass not away. Man is the noblest work of God, his beauty, power and grace, immortal, perfect as his mind, reflected face to face. God could not make imperfect man, his model infinite, unhallowed thought he could not plan. Love's a work, and love must fit. Life, truth, and love the pattern make. Christ is the perfect air. The clouds of sense roll back and show the form divinely fair. God's will is done, His kingdom come. The potter's work is plain. The longing to be good and true has brought the light again, and man to stand as God's own child, the image of His love. Let gladness ring from every tongue, and heaven and earth approve. Let gladness ring from every tongue, and heaven and earth approve. Let gladness ring from every tongue, and heaven and earth approve. Here's a song called I'm in the Presence of Love, and the words are by Jill Gooding. Wherever I am, whatever I do, I'm in the presence of love. Whoever I'm with, wherever it is, it's beneath and around above, I'm in the presence of love. Whenever that serpent tries to talk, whatever it's got to say, love is all that I'm gonna hear throughout my God-filled day. Wherever I am, whatever I do, I'm in the presence of love. Whoever I'm with, whenever it is, it's beneath and around and above, I'm in the presence of love. Whoever would try to darken my skies, whatever it happens to be, love is the only presence and power that I'll know, I'll feel and I'll see. Wherever I am, whatever I do, I'm in the presence of love. Whoever I'm with, whenever it is, it's beneath, around and above, I'm in the presence of love. It's beneath and around and above, I'm in the presence of love. It's beneath and around and above, I'm in the presence of love. We're in the presence of love. It's beneath and around and above, you're in the presence of love.
To be with the Lord is in obedience to the law of God. to be absolutely governed by divine love, by spirit, not by matter. In science, man is the offspring of spirit. The beautiful, good, and pure constitute his ancestry. His origin is not like that of mortals in brute instinct, nor does he pass through material conditions prior to reaching intelligence. Spirit is his primitive and ultimate source of being. God is his father, and life is the law of his being. When man is governed by God, the ever-present mind, who understands all things, man knows that with God all things are possible. The term science, properly understood, refers only to the laws of God and to his government of the universe, inclusive of man. From this it follows that businessmen and cultured scholars have found that Christian science enhances their endurance and mental powers, enlarges their perception of character, gives them acuteness and comprehensiveness, and an ability to exceed their ordinary capacity. The human mind, imbued with this spiritual understanding, becomes more elastic, is capable of greater endurance, escapes somewhat from itself, and requires less repose. A knowledge of the science of being develops the latent abilities and possibilities of man. It extends the atmosphere of thought, giving mortals access to broader and higher realms. God expresses in man the infinite idea, forever developing itself, broadening and rising higher and higher from a boundless basis. The relations of God and man, divine principle and idea, are indestructible in science, and science knows no lapse from nor return to harmony, but holds the divine order or spiritual law in which God and all that he creates are perfect and eternal, to have remained unchanged in its eternal history. God's law is in 3 words: I am all. And this perfect law is ever present to rebuke any claim of another law.
Our God is all in all. His children cannot fear, see baseless evil fall, and know that God is here. Our God is all in space. No subtle error creeps, we see truth's glowing face, and love that never sleeps. We see creative mind, the principle, the life, and soul and substance find, but never discord, strife. O perfect and divine, we hear thy loving call, seek no earthly shrine, but crown thee Lord of all. perfect and divine. We hear thy loving call and seek no earthly shrine, but crown thee Lord of all. But crown thee Lord of all. This next one is one of my favourite ones, written in 2007, amazingly. And I remember when this first went into the new supplement hymn book that was published, the first one that came out, and how very excited I was and still am that it's in there. And it's been chosen actually this Sunday by the first reader at the Mother Church in Boston. It's going to be one of the hymns that they have at the service there on Sunday. So if you feel like tuning in to that at the Mother Church on Sunday. Come, gracious Spirit, heavenly love, with light and comfort from above. Be thou our guardian, thou our guide, o'er every thought and step preside. Be thou our guide, the light of truth to us display, that we may know and choose thy way. Plant holy joy in every heart, that we from thee may ne'er depart. Plant joy in every heart. Plant holy joy in every heart, that we from thee may ne'er depart. Plant joy in every heart. Lead us, O Christ, thou living way, nor let us from thy precepts stray. Lead us to God our heavenly rest, that we may be forever blessed, forever blessed.
The time for thinkers has come. Truth, independent of doctrines and time-honoured systems, knocks at the portal of humanity. Contentment with the past and the cold conventionality of materialism are crumbling away. Ignorance of God is no longer a stepping stone to faith. The only guarantee of obedience is a right apprehension of Him whom to know right is life eternal. Though empires fall, the Lord shall reign forever. Become conscious for a single moment that life and intelligence are purely spiritual, neither in nor of matter. The body will then utter no complaints. If suffering from a belief in sickness, you will find yourself suddenly well. Sorrow is turned into joy when the body is controlled by spiritual life, truth, and love. To hold yourself superior to sin because God made you superior to it and governs man is true wisdom. To fear sin is to understand the power of love and the divine science of being in man's relation to God, to doubt his government and distrust his omnipotent care. To hold yourself superior to sickness and sin is equally wise and is in accordance with divine science. To fear them is impossible when you fully apprehend God and know that they are no part of his creation. Man, governed by his Maker, having no other mind, planted on the evangelist's statement that all things were made by him, the Word of God, and without him was not anything made that was made, can triumph over sin, sickness, and death. Rise in the strength of spirit to resist all that is unlike good. God has made man capable of this, and nothing can vitiate the ability and power divinely bestowed on man. Be firm in your understanding that the divine mind governs, and that in science man reflects God's government. All that really exists is the divine mind and its idea, and in this mind the entire being is found harmonious and eternal. The straight and narrow way is to see and acknowledge this fact, yield to this power, and follow the leadings of truth. Our reliance on material things must be transferred to a perception of and dependence on spiritual things. For spirit to be supreme in demonstration, it must be supreme in our affections, and we must be clad with divine power. Spiritual living and blessednesses are the only evidences by which we can recognize true existence and feel the unspeakable peace which comes from an all-absorbing spiritual love. When we learn the way in Christian Science and recognize man's spiritual being, we shall behold and understand God's creation, all the glories of earth and heaven and man. To those leaning on the sustaining infinite, today is big with blessings.
Lean on the sustaining infinite, and blessings will be yours. Lean not on person, place, or thing, or economic laws, but lean upon all-blessing God, who will all need supply, and give to all abundant good, which money cannot buy. So lean and let and love. This is the balanced way. It's free from self-will, precious stress. It welcomes in God's day. Leaning is so gentle, but letting it so free. Loving is the only way to think and speak and be. Let the healing rain of truth and life, the rain of love divine, be now established within me, to show God's clear design of oneness indivisible, of God and me as one, as water is to ocean wave, a sunbeam is to sun. Lean and let and love. This is the balanced way. It's free from self-will, pressure, stress. It welcomes in God's day. The leaning is so gentle. The letting is so free. Loving is the only way to think and speak and be. Love with a heart of tenderness your enemies and friends. However hard this may appear, this quality just meant, for love is God in action, true, a presence that is felt, a healing and a saving power that will all discord melt. So lean and let and love. This is the balanced way. It's free from self-will, precious stress. It welcomes in God's day. The leaning is so gentle. The letting is so free. Loving is the only way to think and speak and be. The leaning is so gentle. The letting is so free. Loving is the only way to think and speak and be. And loving is the only way to think and speak and be. I don't know how that hymn managed to sneak its way into tonight's program, but it just sneaked in there. Grace for today, O love divine, to thee obey and love alone, losing the mortal will. In thine we find a joy before unknown. We find a joy before unknown. Grace for today, thou love divine, famishing hearts and homes to feed, blot out of fear, and let thy light shine with tender warmth on all our need. Grace for today, O love divine, to thee obey and love alone, losing the mortal will. In thine we find a joy before unknown. We find a joy before unknown. Grace for today, thou love divine, patient of heart, his way to trace, whose pure affection to thee define, in tender love and perfect grace. Grace for today, O love divine, to obey and love alone, losing the mortal sense. In thine we find our joy before unknown. We find a joy before unknown. We find a joy before unknown. Okay, this next one is the single which I have out on all places where you can buy music, so Apple Music and such like. And it's called This Is the Time to Pray, which I wrote during the first lockdown that we had here in the UK. And the words are by Bill Luce, whose words I just adore. So if you want to share this with anybody, friends and neighbours, it's available for download for anyone who would like to hear it. And it also raising money for the Christian Aid charity. Enjoy this. This is the time when the world must pray to hear the Father's call. This is the time to break down each wall and free us, one and all. This is the time to forget the past, to find a better way. This is the time when heart meets heart. This is the time, yes, this is the time to pray. This is the time to be strong and bold, to fight for what is right. This is the time for a song of joy, to end the lonely night. This is the time for clouds of strife to fade and melt away. This is the time to pray. This is the time to pray. This is the time when the world must pray to hear the Father's call. This is the time to break down each wall and free us, one and all. This is the time to forget the past, to find a better way. This is the time when heart meets heart. This is the time, yes, this is your time to pray. This is the time when the streams of hope must overflow the land. This is the time to put all your faith into the Father's hands. This is the time to make war and hate the dreams of yesterday. This is the time to pray. This is the time to pray, the time to pray. This is the time when the world must pray to hear the Father's call. This is the time to break down each wall and free us, one and all. This is the time to forget the past, to find a better way. This is the time when heart meets heart. This is the time, yes, this is your time to pray. This is the time, this is the time to pray.
O gentle presence, peace and joy and power. O life divine that owns each waiting hour. Thou love that guards the nestling's faltering flight, keep thou, my child, on upward wing tonight. Love is our refuge. Only with mine eye can I behold the snare, the pit, the fall. His habitation high is here and nigh. His arm encircles me and mine and all. Let us come into the presence of him who removeth all iniquities and healeth all our diseases. Let us open our affections to the principle that moves all in harmony, from the falling of a sparrow to the rolling of a world.
O gentle presence, peace and joy and power, O life divine that owns each waiting hour. Thou love that guards the nestling's faltering flight, keep thou, my child, on upward wing tonight. Love is our refuge, only with mine eye can I behold the snare, the pit, the fall. His habitation high is here and nigh. His arm encircles me and mine and all. His arm encircles me and mine and all. Oh, make me glad for every scolding tear, for hope deferred, ingratitude, disdain. Wait and love more for every hate, and fear no ill, since God is good and loss is gain. Beneath the shadow of his mighty wing, in that sweet secret of the narrow way, seeking and finding, with the angels sing, lo, I am with you always. Watch and pray. No snare, no fowler, pestilence or pain, no night drops down upon the troubled breast, when heaven's after smilers teardrops gain, and mother finds her home, and mother finds her home, and mother finds her home. And heavenly rest, and mother finds her home, and heavenly rest. tender loving shepherd, I long to follow thee, to follow where thou leadest, though rough the path may be, though dark and heavy shadows shroud the way with gloom. We know that love will guide us and lead us safely home. We know that love will guide us and safely lead us home. We know, beloved shepherd, the path that thou hast trod leads ever out of darkness and on and up to God. And from that path we wander, and far astray we roam. Oh, call us faithful shepherd, and bring us safely home. Oh, call us faithful shepherd, and bring us safely home. Throughout the way, dear shepherd, thy strong hand doth uphold the weary ones at nightfall, thou gently dost enfold. And when to truth's green pastures with joy at length we come, there shall we find, O shepherd, our blessed eternal home. There shall we find, O shepherd, our blessed eternal home. There shall we find, O shepherd, our blessed eternal home. Our blessed eternal home. Our blessed eternal home.
Where God is, we can meet, and where God is, we can never part. Heaven, harmony, the reign of spirit, government by divine principle, spirituality, bliss, the atmosphere of soul. Spirit is symbolized by strength, presence, and power, and also by holy thoughts winged with love. When angels visit us, we do not hear the rustle of wings, nor feel the feathery touch of the breast of a dove, but we know their presence by the love they create in our hearts. Oh, may you feel this touch. It is not the clasping of hands, nor a loved person present. It is more than this. It is a spiritual idea that lights your path. The psalmist saith, He shall give his angels charge over thee. God gives you his spiritual ideas, and in turn, they give you daily supplies. Never ask for tomorrow. It is enough that divine love is an ever-present help. And if you wait, never doubting, you will have all you need every moment. What a glorious inheritance is given to us through the understanding of omnipresent love. More we cannot ask, more we do not want, more we cannot have. This sweet assurance is the peace, be still, to all human fears, to suffering of every sort. These two words in Scripture suggest the sweetest similes to be found in any language: rock and feathers. Upon this rock I will build my church. He shall cover thee with his feathers. How blessed it is to think of you as beneath the shadow of a great rock in a weary land, safe in his strength, building on his foundation, and covered from the devourer by divine protection and affection. Always bear in mind that his presence, power, and peace meet all human needs and reflect all bliss. The star that looked lovingly down on the manger of our Lord lends its resplendent light to this hour, the light of truth, to cheer, guide, and bless man as he reaches forth for the infant idea of divine perfection, dawning upon human imperfection, that calms man's fears, bears his burdens, beckons him on to truth and love, and the sweet immunity these bring from sin, sickness, and death. Let us learn of the real and eternal, and prepare for the reign of spirit, the kingdom of heaven, the reign and rule of universal harmony, which cannot be lost, nor remain forever unseen. Let the reign of peace and harmony be supreme and forever yours.
O'er waiting harp strings of the mind there sweeps a strain, low, sad and sweet, whose measures bind the power of pain, and wake a white-winged angel song of thoughts illumined by faith, and breathe in raptured song with love perfumed. Then his unveiled sweet mercies show life's burdens light. I kiss the cross and wake to know a world more bright, and o'er us troubled angry sea I see Christ walk, and come to me and tenderly, divinely talk. Thus truth engrounds me on the rock, upon life's shore, gates which the winds and waves can shock, oh, nevermore. From tired joy and grief afar, and nearer thee, Father, where thine own children are, I love to be. My prayer some daily good to do, to thine for thee, an offering pure of love whereto God leadeth me. My prayer some daily good to do, to thine for thee, an offering pure of love whereto God leadeth me, whereto God leadeth me. Thank you, Tricia, for those lovely readings. Appreciate it, as I'm sure to all the people that are listening all over the world. So grateful thanks for your readings. Very much appreciated. Okay, this is a song called "The Pearl of Great Price." Once again, with lyrics by Jill Gooding. Kingdoms may come, kingdoms may go, but one remains the same, changeless, royal, so lovely and pure, and heaven is its name. This kingdom is like a pearl of priceless worth, which seekers for truth have never found on earth. Kingdoms may come, kingdoms may go, but one remains the same. It's changeless, royal, so lovely and pure, and heaven is its name. This kingdom is God-governed, with harmony supreme. Its atmosphere is peace and joy, beauty felt and seen. Its kingdom, it's God's kingdom, come right here, where His will is being done. This precious pearl of heaven shows that God and man are one. Gain this holy kingdom, break free from error's lure, sacrifice your earthly pearls for the one that will endure. So come and sell those worldly pearls, goodly but second best, for the pearl of oneness in God's kingdom as His guest. Kingdoms may come, kingdoms may go, but one remains the same. It's changeless, royal, so lovely and pure, and heaven is its name. Okay, we're almost there. I'm going to do one more, I think. Yes, I'm going to do one more. Thank you for being here, everybody. Please feel free to share this wherever you feel it's appropriate to share it, and it'll be available on my Facebook page. You can see it there, and eventually you might see it on a YouTube channel somewhere along the line. But we're all very busy. So there you are. For all people who decide they would like to donate this evening, thank you very much appreciated. And for everyone who donates £40 or more will receive, once again, 2 of these. There I am. two of these, one for you, one for a friend, sent anywhere in the world. And on it has things like Feed My Sheep, Father, We the Loving Children, Don't Be Afraid, Mountain Streams, Love's Ever Presence, The Lord is My Shepherd, Lord's Prayer. So two of those sent anywhere in the world. If you are gracious enough to donate £40 or more. Wonderful. Thanks again to the Christian Science Online UK Online Reading Room for their support in streaming this every week. I'm indebted to them and particularly to Edwin and all the work that he does. So thank you very much. I'm going to finish with Psalm 23. My shepherd, he is love divine. He meets my every need. Where fields are green and water still, I rest, I drink, I feed. Where fields are green and water still, I rest, I drink, I feed. His love restores my thirsty soul and guides me safely on in paths of truth and righteousness as his beloved Son. In paths of truth and righteousness as his beloved Son. And even when the shade of death suggests that we may part, no fear of evil enters here. Strength and guidance ever near brings comfort to my heart, to my heart. His goodness spreads before my eyes. No enemy he knows. His oil is poured upon my head. My cup it overflows. His oil is poured upon my head. My cup it overflows. His grace and mercy every day bring blessings from above. I'm living in the house of God, the consciousness of love. I'm living in the house of God, the consciousness of love. I'm living in the house of God as his beloved Son. There's an encore today because I forgot that I promised someone I would sing this one, because they specially requested it. So this is the last one. It matters not what be thy lot, so love doth guide. For storm or shine, pure peace is thine. Whatever tide, and of these stones are tyrants' thrones, God able is to raise up seed in thought and deed to faithful his. I darkling sense, arise, go hence. Our God is good. False fears are foes, truth tatters those when understood. Love looseth thee and lifteth thee ayont hate's thrall. Their life is light and wisdom might, and God is all. The centuries break, the earthbound wake, God's glorified. Who doth his will, his likeness still is satisfied. Who doth his will, whose likeness still is satisfied. Once again, have a great week. Have a joy-filled week. Keep safe. Keep smiling, and I will be back here, same place, same time next week. And the theme is the passage from Corinthians. It's all about love, and yeah, that's going to be great. I look forward to being here with you next week. Until then, this is Andrew D. Brewis signing off from London. Toodle pip till next time.